Coming up next on Rap About It with Mal Adams, the great and inimitable jazz guitarist Calvin Keys. Calvin Keys is a legend among soul jazz fans and known for his lean, muscular, single-string solo style. He was born in 1942 in Omaha, Nebraska. His first musical influence was his father Otis, a well-known drummer, who passed the music bug on to Calvin. In 1971, he signed with Black Jazz label, released a pair of albums and played in the Ray Charles Orchestra. Keys' unique phrasing and his ability to balance sophisticated jazz harmonics with tough rhythm and blues and soul grooves were showcased nightly in the Charles Band. By 1975, Keys had relocated to the San Francisco Bay Area, where he became, and remains, an avid participant in the jazz community. He worked in live performance settings and recording sessions with John Handy, Bobby Hutcherson, Eddie Marshall, Bob Gray, Ed Kelly, Eddie Duran, Bruce Forman, Junius Simmons, and Eddie Moore. He was sidelined in 1997 by heart surgery, undergoing a quadruple bypass. Undaunted, he released the widely acclaimed Detours into Unconscious Rhythms on Wide Hive Records and toured in the US and Europe. In 2005, Keys recorded Calvin-esque for Silverado. The album hit number 30 on the jazz charts. In 2006, he released Vertical Clearance, followed by Handmade Portrait on Silverado. Calvin Keys remains active on the jazz scene today with frequent appearances in San Francisco Bay Area venues. He is a member and teacher of the Oakland Public Conservatory. He also mentors upcoming musicians, gives private lessons, and is a frequent teacher at Jazz Camp West. Stay right here for the upcoming edition of Rap About It with Mal Adams featuring the great Calvin Keys. You'll be glad you did. Thank you.
You're tuned to GNN, the Global News Network, a division of Toetown Communications Company Limited. Toetown presents Japan Journal. Japan Journal with Mal Adams, the Internet's #1 English language weekly online cybercast from Japan. And now your host, Mal Adams.
While I got you in San Francisco, when did you start working with John Handy, who is a San Francisco cat, a Bay Area cat? I saw him in your lineup.
Yes,
Tell me about John.
I worked with John at this club over on the Visadero. Oh, man, I can't think of it. It was an African name. African brother had the club.
Mm-hmm.
I worked with him a couple of times, and then we did several concerts he called me for.
I see. You never toured with him.
I did one tour with him.
Okay.
It was about 2-3 weeks tour, and we went up into Oregon, and I think we did one night in Seattle.
Okay.
And I had some reel tapes of those concerts.
Mm.
And I took those tapes and put them in my drawer. And I told John, I said, John, you know I got these tapes of these tours that we did. We went and did so and so. So he said, oh, really? Okay. He said, well, just hang on to them. And so I had a friend of mine move here from New York, electrician. And she would work with tapes, and I took those tapes over her. I said, can you take these and put them on a disc for me?
Mm.
She said, sure. And I said, I'll come and get them. Call me when you finish them. That was Monday. She called me Thursday. I said, well, where's my tapes, honey? She said, Calvin, I'm sorry. I just can't quit listening to them.
Oh, wow.
playing so much music, I just couldn't quit listening. I was meant to call you, but I said, okay, can I come get my tape? She said, I'm gonna bring them to you this afternoon. She brought them here and gave me them tapes. And I actually paid her. And I took them tapes and listened to them, and I couldn't believe it. I called John Handy. I said, John, I got these tapes of them gigs that me and you went out and did a couple of years ago. And I said, I've never in my life heard on the alto play as much music as you.
See?
And I said, they talking about Bird and all that. I said,
Man, listen.
yeah.
That's why I asked you about it, man. He invited me to his crib.
I gave him to him. I said, Bird, I said, John, listen to these tapes, and if you don't,
he was a monster, man.
I said, if you don't want to put them out, I'm gonna put them out eventually.
Sure.
And he said, well, just bring me the tapes, and paid me what I paid for them to have them.
Yeah, man. He played piano as well.
I know.
Great musician.
I had no idea, Malcolm, that music. The music sound, the guitar and the saxophone sound like it was one separate instrument.
See?
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, he was a bad cat.
She
actually interviewed him, man.
She listened to me. She said, Calvin, who is that? I said, that's me and John Handy. She said, what?
Yeah, man. So what happened to the music, man?
I still got it. I took it to him and gave him.
We need to talk about that.
And I kept a copy for myself.
Man.
And if you're going to put this out, I'm going to put them out eventually.
Man, well, you need to let me know. We need to drop them in Japan and see what it is, you know?
Well, I mean,
we do.
You know, I got the last 3 nights I worked with Earl Father Hines on tape.
Oh my God, man. What?
Yes. The horn player, he wanted the horn section on that gig over there. Okay. And he called the horn player up in Napa that he had been working with. His name was Smith. He had a group. And I used to go up and play with them, but he had this one group. And he brought the group down, the horn players down. And the guys that had the group, his father came with it and heard me and like they went nuts. Okay. He came back the next night with a tape recorder.
Oh my God.
Under his coat with tape. But he was smart enough, when he went home, he made copies of the tape and came back and gave them to me. He said, Calvin, he said, I got something I want to give.
Okay.
I said, really? He said, yeah, these are the tapes for your last 3 gigs that y'all did. I said, really? He said, but don't tell nobody because I ain't supposed to do that. I said, I know. And he gave them to me. I still got them upstairs.
Wow.
I'm taking half, they on the cassette tape, and I'm going to have them transferred over to CD.
Man, you've been with so many cats. I'm jumping around, but I'm looking at the name of list right here.
Oh.
Talk to me about Sonny Stitt.
He came to this club in Berkeley. What was the name of that club? Oh man, it was gold. It was something. But I worked with him and Ed Kelly, Smiley Winters, and Big Ed Williams for 2 weeks in this club. And when Sonny left and went back to Chicago, the club burnt down.
Wow.
Now I don't know why. I think the owner.
Well, that's the mafia insurance, right?
I think. Man, you talking about some music. Well, he was one of the most outstanding alto players I ever heard.
Well, I asked, man. I saw his name on your list, and I'm saying.
And he, it was like, I said, he got to be the closest son to Bird I ever heard. But then it was
Bird Not Train?
Huh?
Bird Not Train? Closer to Bird?
No. Yeah, Train. I mean Bird. See, Sonny was a master. He was a technician. He was a hell of an alto player and tenor player.
I see.
Okay. But when you talking about Charlie Parker, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He was the greatest that ever did it.
You ever picked it up, baby? Yeah.
He took the horn parts.
You know what? What Miles told me about having a word with Charlie Parker. I got a documentary on Miles, and I got the voice of Bird. We acquired the thing, and he was talking. He said, "Yeah, Miles Davis, the Four Aces somewhere in 42nd Street in New York. They had, and Miles had just quit Juilliard. That's how young he was." Dizzy told me this story, as a matter of fact.
Mm-hmm.
But Miles told me that he wanted to quit every night he was playing with Charlie. He couldn't hang, man. He said it was affecting his body, man.
Yeah, yeah.
He was just in awe. He was in awe, and there's so much pressure. This guy, but then again, it was honor for him to be there because nobody could hang with Charlie.
Right. And that was the best thing that ever happened to Miles.
Absolutely, because it turned him out.
Turned him out.
Cut him loose. That's the birth of the cool, because after all that heat.
Hey, man, but then Miles had a certain ambience about him.
Yes, he did.
He had a certain thing that he could get the best out of anybody that was invited to him.
What I understand.
Yeah. And with that, saying that, Malcolm, I really kind of wondered what would have happened to me if I'd have went with Miles.
That would have been interesting.
It would have been interesting.
That would have been interesting.
You know, I said, I wonder what would have happened to me if I'd have went on and played with Miles.
Oh, man, yo, listen.
Knowing
you and knowing him like I do, the vibe would have been incredible, man.
Well, it would have been interesting. I said,
personality-wise, he would have dug you, I'm sure. Because I don't know musically, y'all wouldn't be able to, but
it would have been interesting. But I know one thing: if it had been on my resume, it would have made a difference.
Yeah, true that.
Miles Davis. I think it would make a difference.
I know you dug Joe Henderson. I had a chance to roll with him in Japan at the Mount Fuji Jazz Festival in few years. But you got Pharoah Sanders down there. Tell me about. Let's go to Joe, man. Was he not a genius?
I got a video on YouTube of Calvin Keys and Joe Henderson.
What? We
did 5 tunes in 1984, February the 1st.
Man, listen, that's when I met him. He was coming to the Fuji Jazz Festival, man. Joe could speak Japanese, brother.
Really?
He was smart, man. Real brilliant cat.
He was a genius. Joe said, Calvin, I got a gig over in the city at this place over on, I can't think of the name of that street. And he says, I'd like for you to do it with me if you want to do it. I said, yeah, who else? He said, no, just me and you.
Duh.
I said, yeah, let's go for it.
Let's go.
I'm young, full of shit. You know,
yeah, man.
Let's do it. And so we went over there, and the first tune we opened up with was Invitation. And I want you to go to YouTube, and you can punch that in and see it. Watch it.
Keep talking. I'm going there right now. Let's see if we can find it.
I mean, if you can't get it now, you can get it. Calvin Keys, Joe Henderson, February the 1st, 1984. Some of the most beautiful.
Where was it, in Australia?
No, San Francisco. At this club, and it was an art gallery there on Valencia. And my God. And that it's gonna be issued. It's gonna be put out too.
Who's got the tapes? You?
No, it's a company. I don't know. Them brothers never gave me a copy of the tape. They did it.
Are we talking February?
That's when we did it.
We talking February 1984?
Yes.
I'm looking at it. let me screen share this for our viewers and see if we can go just hear a little bit.
And the first of it is a poster of me and him being there.
You're in a room. It seems like this is a commercial, an ad in front of it. Let me just cue this up and see what it sounds like, man. Hold on. Jazz and the visual arts, it says.
That's right.
All right, let me share the screen for our viewers. And ladies and gentlemen, here comes Calvin Keys and the great Joe Henderson. Why am I not seeing this? There it is. Okay, let me share that screen. Let me know if you can see this, man. Here we go. You can see it okay?
I can't see it at all. There it is. Yeah, that's it. Jazz and the visual arts. That's it.
Okay.
Just listen.
Yeah, let me take a listen to this and see what it is. My man. Hmm.
Yeah, but you had to get that and get it on the good sound system, and you could really hear what was happening, man.
Right. Yeah, the room was a little hollow too.
But it was, you can get it to the right with the right setup, and you can hear that shit, man, and it's burning.
I will do that. I'll insert this in post production. That way we can.
Just the guitar and that saxophone, man. We had a beautiful thing going, man. And I'm young enough to just say, "Come on, Joe, let's get it."
I'm asking. So this is a original song, or were y'all just jamming?
No, that's a standard. That's a standard tune.
What's the name of the tune?
Invitation.
Invitation. Who did that first?
It's been done by so many people, man.
Okay, I understand.
It came out of it was a soundtrack for some movie back in the day.
Okay, I'll check that out. Oh, I'd like to. I'm going to reinsert that, man, in post production so we can hear that. That's
see, I'm gonna eventually see. Look, Terrence wants to do something with that.
Oh, wait a minute. Now, man, I'm glad you brought him up. Boy, you all in my head. Let's talk about that, brother. Curly Martin, shout out Curly.
Yeah.
Our brother from Omaha, Nebraska. I'm trying to get him on the show. Tell him to come on the show, man. Holler out at him when you know. So
I certainly will. Well, see, Curly, when I left Frank Edwards, the organ player out of Kansas City, with Jerry Bennett, Wayne Bennett's brother, started playing with him. Him and Curly went with Frank. And they played all back east and everything.
I didn't know that. Okay.
And so Frank was a womanizer. So he ended up getting killed.
Oh, wow.
They said the girl that was with him shot him 6 times, but I don't think it was her.
Oh, man.
Anyway, and then after that, Jerry's mother died. He was on his way back to Oklahoma to her funeral, and he died. I think he was doing some things that he shouldn't have been doing.
Yeah.
Because he told me, he said, Calvin, my mama died. I don't want to live neither. So he passed. So this is left Curly. So Curly lost Frank and Jerry. So he started drinking.
Oh. So Curly had left Omaha at this point? He was in LA.
No, they were in Vermont, back east.
Curly was living in Vermont?
See, Jerry had caught this lady that had a club.
I see.
And so Frank and Jerry and Curly was back there working 6 nights a week.
Hmm.
And so when he lost Frank and then Jerry died, it took him to a whole nother thing. Man.
I understand.
He back to Omaha and he started drinking. He became an alcoholic.
I understand.
Gerald Holtz called me one morning and said, Calvin, Curly's got some problems and we're gonna have to get him out of here.
Wait, Gerald Holtz, remind me, Omaha organ player?
No, he was a barber. He had the barber shop down there on 24, across from the Jones Body Shop.
Okay, sure.
Him and King Richard. See, Gerald played bass.
I knew he played something. Yeah, okay, yeah.
And so that was my guru.
Oh, really?
He the one that inspired. He told me, he said, Calvin, you see out all these guitar players around, ain't nobody playing shit, man, but you got to keep doing what you're doing. Because you got
Right
something.
on. That's what I want to hear, man.
He called me, and so I called Curly. I said, Curly, you got to get out of Omaha. I said, come on out here with me in Oakland. I got an apartment that is paid. My rent's paid up 6 months in advance. And all you got to do is just I'll get you some gigs with some of the cats, and you can buy your own food and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he came on out.
What year are we talking about, man?
Damn, when was that, man? That had to be in the
early 70s, right?
In the 70s, yeah. Because I had moved up here, and I had left Ray, and I was starting to work with Ahmad. And so what I did, all the gigs, I got Curly plenty gigs around town with different cats.
Now, let me ask you something. I'm going back to Omaha because I want to keep that thread going.
Okay.
When he went and joined you in the Bay Area,
Mm-hmm.
Stimsy Hunter,
Uh-huh.
all the younger cats, the horn players, who went with Buddy Miles to California. Was that around the same time?
No, this is way after that.
That was after.
Yes.
So Curly had remained on in Omaha when all those cats
working with Frank, and they was traveling.
I see. Okay. Oh man.
See, when I met
the story, man.
See, another thing. See, when I was with Preston, George Miles had moved to South Bend.
George Miles, Buddy Miles.
But his daddy had moved to South Bend, Indiana.
Okay.
So we stopped by South Bend on the way back to Omaha after a little trip through the Midwest. And Wilson Pickett called Buddy Miles. He needed a drummer. So he called Buddy in South Bend. And Buddy left and went with Wilson Pickett.
I didn't know that.
That was the beginning of his shit.
Oh my God. Okay.
And so he went on out with Wilson and started doing what he did with them. In the meantime, he ended up with Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, man, of course.
That's when the shit took off. See,
but that's when Stimsy and the cats joined him. I thought Curly was in that mix, though. No, because Buddy was a drummer. Yeah.
No, see, Curly was with Frank and them. He might have been part of it, but when he left with Frank, and then when Frank got killed, and then Jerry died, Curly was just out there.
Wow. Man.
So he came to stay with me in Oakland. I had an apartment down on 14th in Franklin. But see, I'm with Ahmad. I'm moving.
Sure.
But my rent was paid up 6 months in advance.
Sure.
That's why I told Curly, you can come in and stay here as long as you need to.
Was that in Oakland?
In Oakland, yeah. I got him some gigs working with Bobby Hutchinson.
Okay.
John Handy. And a bunch of the regular groups. But you get juiced and blown. So they saying, Keys, will you come up with this, this drunk ass playing drummer that so and so? I said, look, man. I told Curly, I said, look, Curly. I said, man, you're doing a bad thing, man. You getting drunk, blowing these gigs. So I think I'm gonna have to send you back to Omaha on the Trailway bus, not a Greyhound. So, I said, you're gonna have to go get you some help. Well, I mean, you got to come go with me. I said, no. So he went on to AA. And he came back and I said, how'd it go? He said, well, doing okay, Cal. He said, but they gave me some pills to take. If I smell some alcohol, it will put me in a coma.
Oh,
I said, whoa. But he dealt with that. That's how he quit drinking.
okay.
And
Let
so
me, let me,
now the Beg Boys came through, and they were going to Alaska.
shout out to Ronnie Beck. He's
Yeah.
been a part of this series. You know, he's been on this show. Ronnie.
So
Yeah.
so Curly went to Alaska with him for about 5 or 6 weeks.
Okay.
He came back to Oakland, and the next thing I know, he went to L.A.
Yeah, okay.
So when he went to L.A., he met Rose.
Okay.
And that's Terrence's mama.
See, now talk about this young man who is just blowing up. He's second generation Omaha. He's born in California, right? But his daddy's from Omaha,
And
and
so
he inherited all the music, man.
that's right.
What a
So
young
now,
genius! What a young genius! I'm trying to get him on the show, but
yeah,
talk to me about Terrace.
yeah, we're getting ready to do something together. Yeah.
Okay, talk to me.
So
Yeah.
what he did, so when Curly went down and got hooked up with Rose, she got pregnant with Terrence, and he was born. So I'm his godfather.
Wow.
So I used to go down to LA and record with Stems in them and everything. But I would stay with Curly and Rose.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, Calvin, when Terrence was born, he was the howlingest nigga on the planet. But she said the only time he would shut up was when you go in there and take your guitar and play for him. She said,
Jesus.
you don't remember that? I said, no, baby, I didn't know. But then, see, they was trying to get me hooked up with Rose's sister.
I see.
We'd had a date or two, but that wasn't happening because me and Maria got hooked up, see.
Sure.
So then, so then Curly and Rose broke up and he moved to Minneapolis, I think.
Curly.
Went to Minneapolis and everything. Though he ended up working his way back to Omaha.
Yeah.
And but Curly his son was still down there with his mama.
Yeah.
I used to go down there and hang out with him all the time. I watched this little sucker grow up, man.
Man,
So,
I saw him on an interview. You know, he backed up this famous rapper. What's his name? Wrote half them songs.
What was his name?
K.
Oh,
man, one of the greatest.
He won 5 Grammys.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And if you listen to the music on that brother's rap album, you hear jazz all in there. And I didn't know until last year that was Terrace behind it.
He won 2 Grammys for
Yes, he did. And he's the producer of choice. I saw him with Herbie Hancock doing some stuff.
That's right.
And so on an interview just recently, a few weeks ago, I see him doing an interview and he shouted your name out.
Oh yeah. Well, see, every time he coming up to
the band, he's got a band called Curly that he's getting to go in
I went down night before last and played with him at Yoshi's.
Wait a minute, he already hit in Yoshi's?
He hit Yoshi's Friday and Saturday.
Under the band Curly, named after his dad. Oh my God, what was that like?
It was sold out.
I know that's right.
And he went in, I like that band he got too. He got that little
cool. Yeah.
Oh my God. And so he got to talking to the people and everything. And then he said, yeah, I got one of my gurus up here, my godfather, Calvin Keith.
Sure.
I called him up here.
No.
They stood me up. And I went up and played a couple of tunes with him.
No.
I think I picked up a couple of more fans.
And it was
beautiful. It was beautiful. But you see, he's got some other things that he wants to do with me.
Oh man, well, give me a little scoop here, man. How that?
Well, I got an album out. That album that I did with Stems in, called Full Court Press.
I know that album. You sent me that album years ago.
I got it. See, James Gatson was the one that got me started on that album.
All right.
I told James I was in trouble. I wanted to do an album. James said, "Can you get down the keys?" I said, "Yeah." And I got down to LA. He gave me $1,000 and said, "There's my studio in the back. So all you got to do is pay the director."
Sure.
And I said, "Fine." And so I went in there and started. He put me in a hotel, rented me a car, and said, "Calvin, if you run out of money, say something to me, because I'm so busy Just say something to me and I get it to you. He was the one that started Full Court Press.
Tell the people about James Gadsden, man.
Ooh. See, when I first started working with Frank Edwards, when he came from Kansas City to Omaha and interviewed me, James Gadsden was a drummer. See, and James had just wrote a song called Loveland.
I didn't know he was a composer as well.
I seen him on Dick Clark's American Bandstand singing.
What? Who knew that?
I know. A lot of people didn't know. But then he left and went to LA and got hooked up with Charles Wright in the Watts 103rd Street.
Sure. Yes.
And that was the beginning of his shit. And then he played with all them. See, he incorporated that Louisiana funk.
Yeah, man.
He called the Popeye.
Popeye funk.
That's what it was called, the Popeye.
Yeah.
And so then he got hooked up with Bill Withers. And all them hits Bill had, James was playing drums.
Oh, I see.
And then he started doing all the sessions.
Excuse me.
He ain't looked back since then. So
not at all.
His name is like, he got the biggest name in drummers. When you talk about drummers in LA.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. You know, Ronnie Beck told me he worked with Grandma's Hands. What's his name?
Bill Withers.
Bill Withers actually produced something with him.
Yeah. And see, and James played all them records. You ought to see them gold records he got on his wall.
I bet that's right.
And so Ronnie was with the Tower of Power too.
Yes, he was.
Yeah. So, but he's on a couple of my records.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
He's on a couple of my records, man.
Yeah, man.
But see, me and Terrence is getting ready to do some things.
Yeah, talk to me about that young man. What is he, man? Where did he come from, bro? He's
just talented, man. I did an album called Electric Keys about 5-6 years ago. With Wide Hide Records. That's the one that's got this new record out.
Yeah.
And I did a CD release party at Yoshi's in San Francisco. And I had 4 or 5 horns on that gig. I looked out in the audience and I seen Terrence. I said, ladies and gentlemen, I got a surprise for y'all. And they said, what's happening? I said, well, my godson is in the house. And a lot of people thought I said son.
Yeah.
I said, my godson. And he's an alto player, so I'm going to get him up here to play something. Come on, Terrence. You got your horn? He said, oh, yeah. He came up and sat in on, he played Autumn Leaves and shook the whole block up. And the cats when we got to, he said, Calvin, I didn't know you had a son. I said, y'all wasn't listening. I said, that's my godson.
Yeah.
And that was the beginning of his thing. And that was videotaped and shit. That's on YouTube. But see, after that, he went down there and that's when he produced. What's that boy he produced and did that? I can't think his name. I called him.
I can't think of it either, but he's one of the greatest rappers of.
I know Simon, what the hell was his name, man? But anyway.
K-Dat, it was his one name, his nickname was, but
the boy won 5 Grammys and 2 of them was for the producer who was Terrence Martin.
Yeah, man.
And then Terrence did Hathaway's daughter.
Oh, Layla Hathaway, yeah.
And got a Grammy for that.
He's working with some cats, man.
He got some shit out with Herbie Hancock that's getting ready to come out.
I saw him in the studio.
He wants to put me up with his band in Kamasi.
That's the guy I was trying to think of. That boy's bad too, huh? Down in LA.
We're getting ready to go into production for that, man.
Look at you.
Now he said, Cal, all these youngsters that I done introduced to this music and everything, he said they all want to play with you.
I know they do, see, because they need that.
Man. And I got another partner of mine called me this afternoon named Jaku. He's a guitar player in LA.
Okay.
He called me this morning around 11. He said, Cal. I said, what's up, Jaku? He said, I'm sitting here with me and George Benson is listening at this new record of yours. I said, y'all listening to Blue Keys? He said, yeah. And he said, man, that is some of the coldest shit in the world. He said,
Oh,
"What you
man.
doing with these records?" I said, I don't know, man.
He's with George Benson.
But he's a partner of mine that's got me affiliated with Kenny Burrell. See,
I understand.
he goes by and see Kenny. And see, I don't have Kenny's phone number, so I can't call it. So I have to call Jacques and tell him to go over and tell Kenny I send him my blessing. Kenny just turned 91.
Wow.
And see, when I met Pat Metheny, I went down to Kenny's 75th birthday
Okay.
celebration at Royce Hall at UCLA. And Kenny did a big thing with the guitar players, and he invited me to come down and help him celebrate his 75th birthday.
Wow.
I goes down there. Russell Malone and a bunch of other cats was all there. The last guy to come up was Pat Metheny.
Okay.
You see, I got a partner of mine who's not with us. I did 2-3 albums with him out of Denver. He used to play drums with Pat back in Wichita. And he told me, he said, Calvin, if you ever meet Pat Metheny, tell him I send my love and blessings. I said, okay. And so Pat came up the steps and he was behind the stage. And I said, Pat Metheny. He said, I beg you. Yes, sir. I said, I got a partner of mine told me if I ever ran into you to tell you hello. And he said, well, who was it? I said, his name was James Van Beer. Pat looked at me and walked over to me and started laughing and put his arms around me and said, you can't be nobody but Calvin Keys.
Oh, man. That's how that started, huh?
Man. That's how we met. Then after that, he wrote that song.
Take your call.
Yeah, okay. Yes, sir.
All right. Labor Day is September 5th.
Uh-huh.
First Monday of September.
Uh-huh.
Okay? So now you got that now. I told you I'd find that out, and that's what's happening.
So how's your car?
Start it up, run smoothly.
Did you say? Now, did you save any money?
Well, yeah. What he did is that he changed all the oil and free.
Okay.
And loaded up oil. I mean, that's the type of pennies I get from having known a mechanic for God knows how long.
Okay. Now, but you called me. I'm in the middle of a Zoom meeting with my partner over in Japan.
Oh, shit. I'm sorry.
That's all right. You didn't know, so I'll talk to you tomorrow.
You betcha.
Okay. Peace.
Okay.
That was one of my students, man. He had some car trouble, and I had to bail him out.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, yeah, Earl Rue, yeah, he's one of my students. I taught him years ago. And he plays pretty good too, but it's had a shoulder operation and he's okay though. But he just wants
a word about Pat Metheny. How bad is he? Bad boy? I've heard his music, but
he's a beast.
A beast.
Yeah. He's one of the greatest guitar players that's living today. He told me, he said, Calvin, I used to come down to OG's and listen to you. And you inspired me to start playing with organ players. I said, really? And then I left. And he said, you left town and you must have moved to California because I couldn't find you no more. And I said, well, yeah, I did. He said, well, I went to your website and started listening to some of your music and I was inspired to start playing with organ players. He said, you did that for me. And that's how he wrote that song to me. He said,
Calvin's Keys. I gotta track that song down and listen to it, man. That's quite an honor, brother.
So I mean, you never.
I mean, stuff like that, you'll live forever, boy.
You never know who's listening, do you?
You really never know,
Yeah,
man.
he was
And
a
you never know
remarkable.
who you influence and who you impact with your music.
I
It's a
know.
beautiful thing, man. So let me just reflect back. We're gonna wrap it up real soon because I know you got it.
Okay.
It's getting late. But Omaha, Nebraska, coming up until you were 16. See, I would not have known you because you preceded me by 5 years. I'm 73, going on 74. So you're about 7 years difference.
Yeah. Yes.
But you starting off as young as you did at 16.
Mm-hmm.
You were out there, man, when I was
Yeah.
coming up. And by the time I got in high school, I told you the first time I actually saw you play was that college gig, man. I forget what the occasion was, but you'd come through. We did a special
I
thing.
might have had Victor Lewis with me.
You probably did, man.
He graduated from the University of Nebraska in Lincoln,
Nebraska, in Lincoln. Yeah, man.
and he came down to Omaha and played 4 nights with me. And he said, Calvin, I just graduated. Where you think I should go to California or New York? I said, carry your ass to New York.
Yeah, man. And guess what? Fast forward. The
Mm-hmm.
most I've seen of Victor and I are about the same age, I think. The most I've seen of Victor is in Tokyo. He come
Yeah.
through playing the Blue Notes in Tokyo Lodge, man. Manhattan Jazz Quintet. And just so proud. That's my home.
And gets,
So, you name him, man.
and he's been with everybody because he's a hell of a writer.
And a professor of music.
Yes, he's a hell of a writer and plays his ass off.
Yes, he does. He's got some incredible CDs too. He sent me.
Oh my God, yes, he had.
Yeah.
That's another project that I got in the future coming up, man. Do something with Victor.
Oh, you need to do it, man.
Oh, him and his sister stayed across the street from me on 31st Avenue in the projects.
See?
His mama played piano and his daddy was a saxophone player.
I knew his dad, yeah, man.
I remember all that. And he came to me, and me and Ahmad, we were at the top of the village gate.
Oh.
He came in with his mom and his sister. And said, Calvin, huh?
In New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
He said, Calvin, this is the first time I've had a chance to come to you and thank you for telling me to come to New York instead of And he had his mom and his sister, and they were on their way to St. Thomas.
Wow.
He said, we're on our way to St. Thomas, Calvin. He said, this is the only time I'm going to get a chance to thank you.
See?
I said, wow.
Isn't that something? Last time I saw Victor before Tokyo was in New York at the Sweet Basil. We're watching what's the jazz pianist name?
Cedar Walton?
No, Big Hands, Big Brother.
He's the one that just died, didn't he?
Oh, I can't think of
The one played with Wes Montgomery?
Maybe.
Harold Mayburn?
Oh, I know Harold from Tokyo. Yeah, no.
Big Hands?
Yeah. Anyway, I was with Victor and a brother named an alto sax player from Kansas City, by the way. The names fail me right now, but these cats, he was big. Victor is major, man. You know. In this.
It wasn't. I wonder who. That wasn't Harold Mayburn, huh?
No, I'm thinking about real sweet
Big
Basil,
Hands.
Sweet Basil, and usually as a trio.
You sure it wasn't? Damn, man. Basil was one of the spots, man.
Yeah, man.
Was it Hank Jones?
No, but
Hank
Jones stayed in Tokyo, man. Hank Jones.
Wait a minute. Oh man,
I think it starts with an M, but I just can't call it.
Because the Sweet Basils, man, who was that piano player and a bass player that used to play over there? And I went in there with Papa Joe Jones, and he went and got a newspaper and came back and started playing on the newspaper. And you thought it was
yeah.
Man, what was it?
That was a nice club because if you sit up front, you're right in front of the band.
That was a spot.
That was the joint, man. Yeah.
Oh man, George Duvivier.
No.
That was them. It was and
Uh,
Hank Jones is Alvin Jones and John Alvin's brother, John. Hank Jones, Jimmy. Oh man, it was so many of them cats.
who did?
But yeah, he played with everybody.
Yeah. This cat I'm thinking about. Man, real nice jazz cat. Just so tasty, very tasty, but
Yeah.
strong.
Oh,
Anyway, we can go on, and I want to invite you back, man. Let's do this some more because I love the stories. I'm going to post this and share this, man. People not going to believe these stories that you're breaking on. This is going to be some first time, some shit has been heard.
Right. So what I want to do is come over there and play some music, man.
Well, man, by all means, I have a small club, and I got a Japanese cat that's playing a hell of a lot of flugelhorn, man. Unbelievable Japanese cat. I'll introduce him to you if he ever comes through.
Uh-huh.
And it would, put you with a cat like that in Japan, and y'all be all over this.
Now, who is the girl that Ahmad's book? What's her name? The little Japanese girl, piano player.
I can't think of it.
Marcy or something. What's her name? She's a monster.
Yeah.
Sounds just like Ahmad, too. And he's a
Really? Yeah, I know what you're thinking about. I have to look it up, though.
Get them jazz next month, next couple of weeks.
She stays in New York, doesn't she, this girl?
Hey, you know what I'm talking about. What's her name?
Yeah, I know.
But I'm going to see it. When she comes,
going to play. She's in the Bay Area?
She'll be here next month.
Wow.
3 days.
And then, of course, there's Sadao Watanabe. You ever played?
That's right. I don't know Sadao, man, but he's a hell of a musician, too.
Yes, he is, too. And he loves the cats,
So what I like to do, man, I want to come over there.
I shouted out Buddy Williams to you. I just spoke. That's my brother, man. He's my younger brother. But
You little drummer?
Buddy Williams is drummer. I told him, I said, I'm getting ready to do Calvin Keys. He said, oh, man.
That's my little partner. We done did some things together, too. Yeah, he's a monster, man.
Yeah, man.
So what I'm going to do, Craig Neely is putting together this TPK thing, and he's going to send to all the clubs that I've worked in and see if we can't get rebooked in all of them.
Sure, you're right. Sure.
He said, I got these 2 albums I got is doing some real good things. And he said, Keith, it's time for you to go on and start working again. So I'm ready.
Your album you're speaking of is Blue Keys, the new one.
Simply Calvin.
And Simply Calvin, right?
And I got another one that I'm working on. It'll probably come out in the spring, and it's going to be called Silver Keys.
Okay.
Dedicated to the late Horace Silver.
Oh, wow. Oh.
One of the greatest American classical musical composers that ever lived.
Okay.
Now, I never met Horace, but I played with a lot of the musicians he's used over the years.
Yeah, a brother named Cunningham, 90-some years old in Las Vegas right now, used to come to Japan, was like brothers with him. And I interviewed him, too, for this series. And he told me, man, Horace was a monster. They used to
he was incredible, man. Wait till you hear this album that I done put together for her.
Really?
It's going to be out this spring.
Really?
Yeah, I got 2 more. I got another date, which I'm getting ready to put Eddie Henderson and Gary Bartz.
Well, my label is just starting to come back after 15 years of digital download. Man, I had nothing to do, but now I'm back in the game with Paul Jackson's. I'm administering his estate and got this on the Black Octopus thing that he did with the head on his Herbie, Benny Mope, and all the cats on it, and they recorded it in 1978 in Tokyo. So I'm chopping that right now worldwide. You know anybody in America who wants to distribute that, let me know, because I'll re-release it. But I'm into vinyl now, man. The vinyl is having a re-release.
The vinyl is the hottest thing going
right now. So if you got anything, let me
You've heard Simply Calvin, right?
No, just I heard a couple of tracks.
Listen to it. I'm gonna get the vinyl on it in the next couple of weeks.
Beautiful.
And Blue Keys has already got vinyl. I got the vinyl for that.
Wow, already?
Yeah.
You dropped it on vinyl. Okay. Well, listen, that's what it is, man. And this client of mine in Tokyo, they're selling turntables now. It's so hot. People buying new
but you know, hey man, it started off with the what they start off with the 40 CDs. No, they're going all the way back to the tapes.
And analog is 100 years. You know, I told you about Max Sand doing the Ma Rainey vocals. Well, that's the history of recording on vinyl. That's when it started.
Max Sand, you talk to again. I send my love.
She recording
I wrote called Touch.
See,
she sang it. One of the most beautiful. Touch is one of the most powerful statements you can make.
Wow.
Without touch, what is it?
Ain't nothing.
Well, I said, Calvin, if you had to choose between being blind and touch, what would you believe? I said, I'm gonna have to go with touch because I can see with touch.
That's right.
See with touch. You can't. If you're blind, you can't see nothing. But if you touch something, you can see.
That's right.
So you can feel. I learned that from Ray Charles too.
Yeah, Ray Charles, Papa Ray. You know what? I got a story about Ray Charles real quick. In Toyohashi, Japan, I'm in central Japan. A little bit west of me is a place called Toyohashi. They had a Louisiana Blues Festival, B.B. King headline, but Papa Ray was the #1 cat. And so I'm going for a B.B. King interview, man. I was with CNN at the time. He said, well, Mr. Adams, I'd like to talk to you, but just give it 20 minutes. I got to go over and pay my respects to Papa Ray. And that blew my mind. I said, so Ray is the cat?
Oh, yeah. I did the whole island with it.
Yeah?
When I first joined Ray, we did the whole island of Japan.
Wow.
In Osaka, the hotel we stayed in had a cook that made a lemon meringue pie. We used to fight to get to the first two.
Before I let you go, tell me the story you told me. You're on the set. Papa Ray, I know Papa Ray was a taskmaster. Now he didn't suffer any fools. Last time I saw him was in Hamamatsu, which is 20 minutes from me, and I'm waiting for him to come off the stage. He said, oh, young man, I remember you. I did the CNN interview with you. Very cordial cat, man, but it was no nonsense. He said, now, I'm not going to talk to you today because I'm tired, and I got to go to the hotel. So you take care, be blessed, and split. Just like that. There wasn't no negotiation.
I hear you.
But you told me that he fired somebody on the spot. Or was that the time I was in? A bass player or something. He was angry. But you did tell me that one time he looked back at you and was like what you were playing, and he said to you, Calvin, keep it right there and don't let it go.
No, he turned around and hollered at me. He said, Calvin. I said, what? He said, turn that up some. Don't let that get away. I said, yes, sir, Mr. Charles. Yeah, I played blues for him. He loved the blues, man.
Oh, yeah? Oh, please.
Told me, Leroy Cooper said, Calvin, he was a band leader when I joined Ray. And I had to go to Milan, Italy to do a rehearsal for 5 hours to play the gig. First,
what?
And Leroy Cooper said, Calvin, out of all the guitar players that I've known Ray to have, he said, you can get anything he got.
What?
Are you serious? He said, I'm telling you. Out of all the guitar players he done had, he loves you the most. You can get anything he got. Wow. And I said, yeah, I think so, because I played the blues for him.
Sure, you're right.
He loved the blues, man.
Yes, he did.
And that's that North 24th Street shit, man. The near North side.
My grandma, 2622 North 24th between Miami and Ohio. I watched it all go down in elementary school.
In the Carnation Ballroom.
Speak out the back alley, me and my brother Jimmy, rest in peace. And, the Goodwin Crap House is right down at the end of the alley.
Barber shop and right there on the corner. But I want you to put in your mind, Malcolm, see, me and Terrence is getting ready to do something.
Man, I'm excited about it. And
I'm saying, I want you to be able to just think about what if we did something that came over to Toe Town.
Listen, with that combination, are you kidding me?
Hey,
I can sell that, baby. That's
Think
done.
about it. Think about it.
Done.
Right. Music is a subconscious addiction.
Hey, listen, and Godfather and Godson combination. Come on,
Hey, take it. And I mean,
the
you know,
old and the new.
he wants to get that videotape of me and Joe Henderson too. He want to do something with that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back and look at that. I'm gonna play it
Yeah.
in my headphones so I can hear it.
Yeah. Take it to your house and put it on a good machine.
But think of something. Think of something that you want to re-release, so I can. Because I got a couple of clients over here.
I got some. Oh
This
man,
Paul Jackson thing, and so let's get back with the reissue
I got
stuff.
2 tunes. It's this boy wanted me to go down to Caracas, Venezuela. It's a girl down there named Luz Marina. She's a pop star.
Okay.
Wanted to do a jazz album. He calls me.
Wow.
And gave me 2 songs. He said, Calvin, I want you to do these 2 tunes. So the 2 songs is Estate and The Island. And I gave him the 2 partners of mine. I said, I want y'all to make me sound like I'm with the LA Philharmonics.
Yeah, right.
And so I went down there and did them. I'm listening at the playback to Estate. And her manager got her at the airport. She flew in to LA. She came into the studio while I was sitting there listening at the playback. And she said, and so he introduced us. And I said, nice meeting you, Luce, and so on and so forth. One of the most gorgeous things I ever seen in my life. And she listened and me listening. And she said, Calvin, did you just finish that? I said, yeah, I just did this, Estate. And she, oh, it's so beautiful. And I said, you sang, don't you? She said, yeah. I said, you want to sing this? She said, may I? I said, give her a microphone and put her in that booth over there.
Sure, you're right.
One time through.
One take.
When you hear it, you're going to say, good God Almighty.
And where was this recorded?
In Los Angeles.
Wow.
And then they had that coup right after that, see? That's what blew that.
Sure, I see.
He was going to send them 2 tunes I did, he was going to send them down to Caracas to the radio station and have them start playing it. Wow. They already wrote an article in the newspaper that she was coming to get hooked up with the jazz guitars master Calvin Keys in San Francisco. And they was going to travel some. But I'm going to get that. I want you to hear that.
Yeah, man. Please do. Please let me hear something.
Okay.
But listen, don't forget about me, and I'll be in touch. I want to do this again.
Okay.
Next project for me and with you is you and Terrace's thing, man. So
okay,
hook me up.
And I'm waiting to hear from him because I sent him them contracts that he wanted to see yesterday, and he said he was looking at them today. So I want to find out what he's got in mind.
See, you right now. As soon as I get through talking to you, I'm writing contracts right now. Licensing for distribution and stuff. I've been doing that. Haven't done it in 50 years. I'm back in the game now.
Right on.
My attorney, Michael Ashburn, right there in Oakland, up in Pinot.
Okay.
Cat, one phone call away. He said, yeah, man. He said, don't get that cat worldwide rights. You take Japan and the US and give him Europe. You know, that kind of advice.
See, Terrence introduced me to a guy night before last. He said he's got international distribution over the planet.
Holler at me, man, so I can drop some product.
Well, I'm telling you, I'm gonna tell you that I'm gonna talk to him soon as you call me. And he said, Calvin, I want you to do 3 tunes with this band I got and watch what happens. So I said, I'm ready, baby. And
see, whatever. And then here's a bargaining scheme for you. If you do a short album, how many tunes you looking at? 5 or 6 for an album?
Well,
you only get 25 minutes on the side on vinyl, you know. So
yeah, you ain't but so much time you can do on each side. So
right,
that's a problem I've had.
5, 3 on one side, 2 on the other, something like that.
Yeah, but it's gonna be.
But what am I saying is put a bonus track for Japan on that and watch what happens.
Okay, I'll do that.
See that? Keep that in mind.
Right on, my brother.
And we'll talk, and then let me shop it.
Okay.
One love to you, man. Appreciate you.
Well, you got people in the Bay Area, right?
Yeah, I do. We got my brother Mike, who knows you.
Tell Mike to call me.
I will do, man. I'll shout him out and tell him.
I ain't seen him in a while, so
yeah.
I need to see him. What's his daughter's name?
Angela.
That's right. Yeah, tell him to call
Matter
me.
of fact, I saw her on Facebook. I said, just talk to Calvin Keys, getting ready to interview him, and he shouted you out. I didn't know you knew him.
Right on.
But
Yeah,
I got a lot of cousins right there on Lakeshore, man. The Adams is, yeah, man. A lot of people know you.
we got to hook up, man. Just send me all that
Well,
information.
when I come back, you know, I always stop off in San Francisco or LA, but I'll hop off in San Francisco. But I'm on a mission now with you, man. We go
Okay,
come.
tell
We
him
got to
I
get
can
you.
call me, man. He got my number, I think. He still got it.
Yeah, I'll shout him out and tell him to holler at you.
Okay,
All
beautiful.
right, one love to you, bro.
I
Appreciate it.
love you too, man. I'm
Let
looking.
me close this show. Thank you very much for listeners for tuning in. This is the great Calvin Keys in the Bay Area of America
Thank you, my brother.
on Japan Journal. Rap About It with your host, Mal Adams. We'll be back with him and more as this series goes on. And
All
that's
right.
good from
Thank you.
Japan. All right, brother. Peace and love.
All right.
Talk to you soon.
Right on. Peace.
Bye-bye. All right.
Japan Journal with your host Malcolm W. Adams features newsmaker, celebrity, and luminary interviews, in addition to episodes from the regular Rap About It with Mal Adams series, Japan Journal specials, and so much more. Japan Journal is the internet's #1 weekly English language online cybercast from Japan. Every guest appearing on our shows is interviewed with Mal's signature blend of intelligence, experience, professionalism, knowledge, honesty, and humor. The results are among the best interviews to be found online. We invite you to comment, follow us, like us, share us, and subscribe to us. Thank you.